Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Loaded Thursday, as always. Maybe our favorite day of the week here. We have Tony Rizzo coming up in 30 minutes. We'll ask him about the Brown situation. Are they going to bring a quarterback in off the streets before the end of the regular season? They're 6-3 on the year. The news yesterday with Deshaun Watson. We have Brad Powers talking college football today. Mikhail Bala, who hosts our F1 racing podcast here at the network, is going to join us as those festivities get underway tonight here in Las Vegas. Mike Palm studio, Paul Charchian on the show today as well. Paulie, this is a doozy tonight. We don't always get these matchups on Thursday Night Football, but when we do, boy, they are big. And this one feels like the timing here is almost perfect because it's desperation time for the Bengals after losing last week. Across the board now, the Ravens are a 3.5-point favorite, and the total is 46 pretty much everywhere. Here's what we know. There is no T. Higgins. There's no Sam Hubbard in the game tonight for the Bengals. Probable as of right now. Trey Hendrickson looks good. He was a full go at practice. After earlier this week, it looked like he was going to not go. Now he is. DJ Reader's going to go. You have Davis Gaither, Awuzie. Those guys are all probable. There's no Ronnie Stanley for the Ravens tonight. Marlon Humphrey's doubtful. We'll get into all the numbers here. At first blush, my reaction is this number 3.5 based on what happened last week and what we know about Joe Burrow and the Bengals over the last couple of years, right? How they have to have the game, and as a dog, Joe Burrow has been money, because I think 3.5 is too short.
Well, I think it's short because Jackson's 3-1 against Burrow, and remember how well Huntley played in the playoff game in Cincinnati. They should have beat him, but the 99-yard fumble return for a touchdown as well, and then the horrible clock management at the end of the game by Harbaugh. Ravens outplayed him in that game. But you have to dial it up a notch, the importance of this, because of what happened yesterday with Watson. So I figure after what Singletary did last week, the Ravens should gash him on the ground, as the Bengals have struggled against the run. And when you give up 150 to Singletary, what's Lamar and Mitchell and Edwards going to do tonight? Now, it could be by committee, so the props are interesting. As you see, Mitchell's only 36.5. But, Lamar's talked about it all week, too, with the turnovers and blowing these leads again. I mean, you're up 14. You got to win that game last week. And again, you should be undefeated. But the last 2 years, they continue to blow games. But the stat I can't get away from, and Burrow's only responsible for 4 of them. But in the last 25 years, they're 1-23 on the road in night games and have lost 14 in a row from the amazing Bertrue department. So Cincinnati doesn't win these type of games. It's nuts. Now you want to throw it out and say, okay, well, Burrow's only responsible for 4 of those? Yeah. Okay. But in any event, I think Cincinnati's a bit of a fraud. While you have the San Francisco game, which was unbelievable and a great performance, they are sitting here in danger of missing the playoffs, yet they are number 1 in turnover differential. Uh-huh. So the one thing the defense does is take it away. But other than that, I can move it on you, and certainly they are 30th in yards per game allowed as well. So I think everyone eats tonight for the Ravens. And I've been playing Flowers over every single week, and I think he's too low at 52.5.
Okay, so the Ravens offense overall, again, I think a lot of people have what happened last week in their heads, like, problems here with the Ravens. Well, again, they blew 3 different double-digit leads in the same game. I would call that a fluky loss because overall on the year, their numbers are absolutely elite when you look at advanced numbers as well, like DVOA. They're number 1 overall. They're 5th on offense. They're 2nd on defense. They're 1st overall with the running game. Their pass defense is 2nd overall. Points scored last 5 games, 31 in the loss last week, 37 the week before that, 31-38, and they even scored 24 in London when I could argue they should have had more points against the Titans.
That's right, yes.
So the offense has been humming. Also, as you mentioned, Bengals, bad at slowing down the run. Look at Singletary last week. Devin Singletary doesn't run for that many yards against anybody.
Right.
That's almost a career game for that guy in the ground. And now you're taking on this unit up front. I get it, no Ronnie Stanley, but they have a slew of guys they can use in the backfield. There's also this. The Bengals against tight ends are 30th in DVOA. And when you look at, and I'll call it, upper echelon tight ends this year, The first time they played, Mark Andrews, 5 for 45 and a touchdown. When they played Kittle, now, yes, that was a win, a convincing win, and there was no Samuel. Kittle had 9 for 149. Kincaid had 10 for 81. Dalton Schultz last week had 4 for 71. So those are like good games to like superb games for tight ends. When they played kind of like the, I guess, more average tight ends or below average guys, they really didn't do anything. But when they take on good, solid tight ends who get a lot of targets, they haven't had a solution for those guys. So I think it's a bad combination here where Andrews can have a good game, Lamar can throw it on this team, and they're going to be able to run the football. Like, where are the stops coming from overall with the Bengals?
And who's better in the first quarter than Baltimore? 79-16 this year. They've outscored their opponents. They're 0-8-2 on the money line in the first quarter. They get the pick six right away against Watson. So they have been one of the best teams in a long, long time with the fast starts in the first quarter. We mentioned Cincinnati, losers of 14 in a row, road night games. Baltimore, 19-3 in this spot at home. So they've been phenomenal going back since 2008. All the blown leads we've talked about the last 2 years. How about blowing divisions? Now, if they win this game, they're essentially 3 games up on the Bengals. The Bengals also have been outscored this year. And Baltimore at DraftKings is 1-10 to make the playoffs. Got to risk 1,000 to win 100. But if they win this game, I say shut it down. Division's over if they win this game. But the other thing is, this is the 4th time in the last 5 years, after Week 10, the Ravens have led the division. How many times have they won it in that span? Once. How bad is that?
Yeah.
So they're in this position all the time, but they can't close. And we know, remember, he kept saying it. He said it 5 times during that game, in the Seattle game, Romo. No one's going into Baltimore in January and winning. Well, maybe you're right. But you're not going to get in that position unless you win games like this.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get more than one home game unless you close strong. And we know, as Vito's son told us, the schedule for both teams, brutal the rest of the way.
No doubt. So Chase, obviously, is going tonight. He's the clear-cut wide receiver number 1 for the Bengals. No T. Higgins, so that means Tyler Boyd swings into the number 2 wide receiver spot.
Oh, does he atone? He better. He cost them the game last week.
Ravens are the second-best team guarding wide receiver number 2s in the entire league.
Oh.
They struggle guarding wide receiver number 1s. They're allowing 74 yards per game to the position. So you would think, based on the history here of the season for Baltimore and who they have in the defense, Chase goes off maybe tonight. Although they're going to have to realize, okay, that's the guy that's going to beat us. How do we double him and then let Boyd do whatever he wants? So maybe it flips a little bit tonight. But the Bengals are actually pretty good overall at guarding wide receiver number 1s and wide receiver number 3s. You tell me, how does it break down with the Ravens depth chart? Who's wide receiver 1? Who's number 2? Who's number 3? It seems like it changes almost every single week.
Flowers is the go-to guy.
I think he's the number 1 guy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Beckham only had 1 catch last week. It was the touchdown on the slant. But that was it.
Bengals are the 7th best team guarding wide receiver number 1s.
Okay.
For what it's worth.
Flowers, 52.5. Boyd, 44.5. Beckham, 26.5. Chase, 80.5. Mitchell's only 36.5 rushing yards. Lamar's 44.5. Lamar led him in rushing yards last week. Both quarterbacks are $1.15 to throw a pick. How much does Cincinnati move it and in success they have? Baltimore's number 1 in the league, 15 points per game. They're in number 2 in yards per game allowed as well.
Yeah,
I'm shocked by what this defense has done.
How would you attack the running back props for the Ravens tonight? To me, it's a little bit
tough. I think everyone eats.
So do I.
By committee. Difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah.
The other thing, do you want the over? 11 straight night games have gone under. 15 of the last 16 primetime games have gone under.
Well, I mean, it was 43.5. It went to 46.
Yeah, right.
So the market said that number is way too low. Again, I'll ask this question. Just forget about this game being a primetime game tonight. If this game was on Sunday, what would you make of the number at 46? I'd want the over. Weather's not going to be a factor tonight.
Yeah.
27-24 the first time they played. Joe Burrow had that horrible INT at the goal line.
I do see field goals tonight, though.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
I do see drive stalling. I do see Harbaugh going for it. 4th and goal from the 3, not working out. 7-minute drive, no points. Bengals backed up. There goes your under. You're over, rather.
Here's something. When's the last time we've been able to say this? Maybe a clear advantage in special teams for the team not named Baltimore. DVOA, Bengals, 5th best team. McPherson having a great year. Ravens, 19th overall special teams. If you go back, they have been top 2, top 3 in special teams basically every single year with Justin Tucker as the kicker.
I was going to unload on no defensive or special teams touchdown till a viewer pointed out on Twitter the last 3 games Cincinnati has scored a defensive or special teams touchdown against the Ravens as well. There's one prop I also love at DraftKings. Well, both teams have a touchdown and a field goal tonight. What do you make it?
I never...
$1.90.
Minus 190.
That I love. That I absolutely love. I know at times McPherson...
having a good year.
Yeah, but I love both kickers, and both. I just need one touchdown and one field goal from each team. It's $1.90.
And now you have a total of 46.
Yes, and then if it happens in the first half, it's plus 330. Each team touchdown and field goal in the first half plus 330. That's not bad either. Both halves is 16-1. That's tough to pull off.
I think the Ravens are short at 3.5.
Yeah. Oh, that's a monster game.
It's huge.
It's a big one.
Huge.
Big one.
Burrow, I know what you said about the night games. Burrow's also, I think, 15-2, catching more than 3.5 points.
That is true. That is true.
So,
right.
Again, and they are, for what it's worth, I mean, I would say the Bengals have to have this game.
And how things have changed in light of the Watson news. Baltimore $1.15 to win the division now, and Cleveland plus 450.
We'll remind people, though, just because a team needs to win a game or has to have a game doesn't mean they're going to win, nor does it mean they're going to cover. So, I can't wait for this game tonight. It's a monster.
Good for Al Michaels.
Yeah, win some, lose some is up next. Paulie's going to run down last night's betting action, including a bad beat in Maction. Details next here on VSiN.
Before you make your next bet, be sure to visit vsin.com. Check the current betting splits data. Want to know where the money and bets are moving every game? It's updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes so you can see changes in all the action. Find out where the public's betting based on the number of tickets and where the money doesn't match the public opinion. Future events, you can check it out as well. We're here to make you smarter, better year-round every game. vsin.com.
Here we go. Love this guy. The real T. Rizzo joins the program now. Tony Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland on the program. All right, buddy, you were live on the air yesterday when the Deshaun Watson news broke. What was your reaction as it took place? What was the city of Cleveland's reaction with that news?
Well, first of all, guys, I don't want to go Sal Pal or anything, but I haven't been on in a couple of months here. What's going on? I mean, who did I piss off? I mean, why? I'm your guy over here. What's going on? Mitch, listen, stunned. But when you come from here, when you come from the most tortured fan base in America, there were people that went OIC, only in Cleveland. We were stunned. This came out of nowhere. We were worried about his ankle. And I have connections to Watson, and they told me that the ankle was he could still play on the ankle. Then out of nowhere, they said he broke a bone in his shoulder. And sure enough, we went back. I think we saw the hit. Second quarter, he got sandwiched between Patrick Queen. Queen tackled him helmet to shoulder. I mean, they really let him have it. And the kid ran a lot in Sunday's game, and they beat him up pretty good. But we were stunned. I just, here we are, 6-3. The kid finally looks like he's paying dividends. The defenses, I've never seen a defense this good. I told you guys in the summer, this defense is phenomenal. Now what? How many teams can win with a backup quarterback? I don't know. We're about to find out.
Okay, that leads me to this then. So you've won games with P.J. Walker. Then Stefanski comes out and says, wait a second, it's going to be DTR. What do you make of this?
Well, here's what he said yesterday, and I'm not buying this. Everybody, by the way, we're just stunned with that move.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
He said the kid has improved in practice. They want to give him a whole week. The first game against Baltimore, everybody thought Everybody thought Deshaun was starting against Lamar. So 2 hours before the game, they tell the kid he's starting, and he wet the bed. So now they think with a week of practice, they want to see him. You know what he is? He's a draft pick, guys. And the Browns and GM Andrew Berry, man, they love their draft picks. I wonder what the team thinks about this. We had Rodney McLeod on, veteran player, won a Super Bowl yesterday. He said next man up, it doesn't matter, but I want to see how this defense responds. When Deshaun didn't play in that first Ravens game, The defense pitched a 10. They were done. They played. It was the worst game of the year for them. I want to see how they respond now. Do they think they have a chance to win? Guys, I can't believe the line. I can't believe it. How are the Browns favored in this game? How?
Okay, so
sure.
So wait a second here.
That's fair.
You're stunned that they're favored. What if P.J. Walker was the starting quarterback? Would you still be stunned?
Not as stunned. He's beaten. The 49ers, okay, they missed a kick at the end. He had him in the game. The problem is, here's the deal. He turns the ball over. I think Walker has 1 touchdown and 5 picks.
You are correct.
That drives Stefanski nuts. That is Kevin's. That is his thing that you just cannot turn the ball over. Now, maybe they think the Dorian's not going to turn the ball over. I don't know. All I know is the memory I have of that kid playing in that Ravens game, I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
Is there anything they can do? I mean, would Tannehill or Garoppolo or have to ask to be released? Anything?
They are exploring that, guys. I heard they were going to make the call to Brady. He ain't going to pick up the phone. But they're going to explore their options. I heard, he wouldn't pick up the Come on. You think Tom Brady's coming to Cleveland in November to save the day? No. I heard Flacco. There's guys they're going to look at. What I think is this move for Thompson Robinson is a Band-Aid. They're just trying to get through and somehow win this game. I want to see if Stefanski dumbs it down. I like the under here for sure with those 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But dumb the game down, get a win against Pittsburgh, and then I think they're going to look at their options. But there are guys. Anybody on the street's on the street for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if Danny DeVito's kid's playing in the league, come on, give me a break.
I know.
Come on.
I call Rivers though. He might pick the phone up. Mitch is right. He might want to get out of the house.
He's on a farm. He's on a farm with 9 kids. Yeah, I'd come too.
Right. Well, okay. There's still $1.90 to make the playoffs, and their adjusted win total is 10.5. They're going to win 11 games.
I know the Bears, the Jets, the Rams, and the Texans, who are pretty good, are on the schedule.
Yeah.
But I think they're saying if they go 4-4, they finish with 10 wins. Does that make the playoffs? Probably. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what the bookmakers are looking at. But yeah, I got to see what happens on Sunday because we are all stunned at the move for DTR, and this is another move where it's going to count on the record. And I think Stefanski's done a great job this year of keeping this team together. They lost Conklin, the right tackle. They lost Chubb for the season. Now they lose Watson. I mean, I know he's not in the top 5, but he's doing a hell of a job. Coach of the Year stuff right now. If he could somehow get the Browns to the playoffs, I might vote for him.
Yeah. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, the real T. Rizzo. That's what he is on X. Tony Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland, in the Really Big Show. Okay, so you want to see what the defense is going to be like because, as you mentioned, the first time they were without Watson, it was not pretty, and they got blasted by the Ravens. However, T., the first time they played the Steelers, they gave that game away. Pittsburgh had those 2 defensive touchdowns to begin the game and basically to end the game. But offensively, the Steelers did nothing in that game. Take away that Pickens pass, and they had like 150 yards of offense.
Yes, and that's why I think the line is what it is. I was at that game. That was the last time I talked to you guys. I mean, come on. But yeah, if the Browns can score 14, if the Browns can score 14, I think they're in this game. Because I think they're going. What Pittsburgh did the last game was they outlasted the Browns. The Browns got Stefanski's different. He's proven to me in the past month that he'll wait a game out. He took field goals in the first half of last week's game. 3 of them proved to be prophetic. He needed them because he only won by 2. I think this is a different game. I think the Browns are in this game. They just can't turn the ball over, and I think 14, 17 points gets it done.
Are people bringing up that Dobbs was on the roster not that long ago?
Oh, my God. Oh, my. I got to say this. It doesn't hurt. This is a memo to all NFL executives. Every once in a while, you say, yeah, wish I had that move back. Andrew Berry was asked about that at length. He was asked, guys, not only did they trade Dobbs in the preseason, they had a chance to get Watson was hurt. at the trade deadline.
That's right.
And they had a chance. Yeah, and they had a chance to get another backup, a better backup, knowing that he was already dinged, and they rolled the dice with these two guys, and now here we are. That was malpractice, GM malpractice, no doubt about it. It's well documented here in Cleveland.
All right, so you're stunned that the Browns are favored against the Steelers on Sunday. What do you make of the game tonight, Tony? It's a monster, obviously. Ravens have been one of the best teams in football, but I mean, the Browns came back, shocked the world last week by winning that game late, and Watson was so good. It's desperation time here for the Bengals. Do you have a feel for this game tonight?
Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to give it everything they got tonight. Something is different with them. I can't put my finger on it. I know the defense gave up a ton of points last week. Burrow is, looks like he's back, but they're just not the same team. Not to the extent of Buffalo. But they look a little different. The Ravens had the game last Sunday, guys. I got to tell you, Jim Harbaugh had to kick himself for 2 days straight for giving that one up. I think Baltimore's going to be in this game, but I think Cincinnati's going to go for everything tonight. Should be a great game. What's the line?
3.5.
Yeah, Ravens 3.5, total 46.
Yeah, I like the hook.
Okay.
I like the hook. Yeah.
Lastly, do the Buckeyes not only give the Wolverines a run for their money next week, do they go in there and win?
Guys, the quarterback play is, I don't know. The kid's only got 9-10 starts under his belt. The offensive line isn't that good. I think the big advantage for the Wolverines here is line of scrimmage. Their line of scrimmage, they got kids that have started 3 years on both the offensive and defensive lines. I don't know how they're going to respond, but they are. Let me tell you something. They're taking this Harbaugh thing as us against the world. That's helping them. Like the Big Ten didn't do any of Ohio State favors by suspending Harbaugh. This team is banded together right now. They're America's team, guys. You know that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
America's cheaters. They're America's cheaters is what they are. Come on.
You can follow Tony on X at The Real T Rizzo. Listen to him on ESPN Cleveland.
Beautiful.
Great spot. We love talking to you. We'll do it again in like 6 months, pal.
God, it better not be. Boys, enjoy.
See you soon. See you definitely at the Super Bowl. A+. A+, sir.
Love that guy.
Oh, wow.
What a character.
Strong.
Good hang to in person.
Yeah. That'll tell you what they're feeling. Dobbs and DTR. What?
Sure.
DTR. Come on.
More NFL next. One team said if he wants to play, he's going to play. All right? Plus, next coach fired odds. Next.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Top of the morning to you. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Thursdays, Brad Powers joins the program. Professional sports bettor. His website is bradpowersports.com. He's on X at BradPower7. How are you today, Brad?
Excellent. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Okay, so the opening number on Sunday between Washington and Oregon State, gigantic game. Huskies were favored by 2, went down to pick almost immediately, then back up to 1. And now we're sitting here this morning where Oregon State is completely flipped. They're either 2 or 2.5 point favorites. It's not going to get to 3. I can't imagine any scenario where it would. Has it flipped now a little bit? I know it's the money line, doesn't really matter that much, but has it flipped now a little bit too much in your opinion?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm not a part of the Oregon State money. I probably, hindsight's always 20/20. Probably wish I would have grabbed a little bit. My power rankings didn't have a big disparity, though. That's why I kind of paused. I was hoping to get a 3 on the Oregon State side. My power rankings actually have Washington by 1 in this game. So has it moved? I mean, obviously you're moving through 0, not as significant as moving through key numbers, so to speak. But it hasn't gotten there yet where I really want to pound my fist on the table and say I want to make a bet. I do think Oregon State's the right side this week. I mean, Washington, 6 straight wins by 10 points or less. I will say this. For all the money on Oregon State, there is still a very decided edge in favor of Washington. That being their offense in the pass game against Oregon State's weakness on defense, and they're 2 cornerbacks. So that would still concern me a little bit on the Oregon State side with all that money coming on the Beavers.
Okay, very good. Does Georgia get another blowout win against Tennessee?
Numbers don't call for it. Keep in mind, this game traded all year. I mean, since early summer, and it was always consistently Georgia like 7-9, and all of a sudden now it's as high as 10.5 in spots. Understand it. Georgia's off their arguably their best performance this season. Tennessee's off their worst. To me, it feels like kind of a buy low, sell high type of situation. I'm going to lean Tennessee, but I got to tell you guys, I am so shook by that Tennessee performance last week where I did bet them against Missouri that I still haven't got to the window, even at 10.5.
Okay. The look ahead here, they actually posted this at Circa, the SEC title game. Georgia was 3 against Alabama. It has since moved. It's gone up from that opening number here at Circa. What would you make that number as of today?
I'd make Georgia 4, so I didn't see that quick enough. I mean, Georgia -3 was a bet I would have made. I don't think it's, an awesome bet, but it would have been enough on a key game like that where unless something drastically happens against that in the next 2 weeks, I think 3 will probably end up going down as the best number you could have gotten on that game on the Georgia side. So, yeah, it's unfortunate I didn't bet that. But, I mean, what do I see? I see that game gets better by the week. I mean, obviously Alabama's ascending, playing their best football this season. Georgia's getting healthy on offense. They're playing their best ball. I mean, that's a hell of a lot more competitive than what it would have been just 2-3 weeks ago where Georgia would have been closer to a full touchdown favorite.
You've been doing this a long time. Based on your experience, past experiences, what do you like to do? Is there anything there with the interim coach angle that we have Jimbo let go, a change at Boise, a change at Mississippi State, and a new offensive coordinator at Penn State? Is there anything there? Would you like to ride those teams or just sit it out? What do you think?
Yeah, it's always going to be a case-by-case basis. You got to dive into it. What was the reason for it? Was he well-liked, whether coordinator or head coach? Sometimes I've gotten to the point where it's almost like instead of just, trying to do some guesswork, I mean, just sometimes sit it out. So, but with that being said, I did play one of those this week. It wasn't one of those two. Texas A&M, I mean, we'll see when that FCS line comes out. It's always going to be number dependent there. Penn State game, I thought I was hoping to bet Rutgers, but the number never got high enough, at least at this point in the week. The one I did bet was I faded Boise. To me, it felt like they kind of punted on the season. Maybe there was an issue with Avalos in the locker room because now the wide receiver's talking about he wants to come back to the team. But the reality is Boise State still mathematically was in the Mountain West race, and they fired the coach, said, he's not good enough. So I kind of like Utah State this week. That was an interim coach that I played against. Okay.
Now what if Harbaugh can't coach the last 2 games? What do you do with Michigan's power rating? Now, they beat Penn State, but then they ran the ball 32 straight times, and Penn State couldn't do anything offensively. What do you do with Michigan moving forward in the next 2 if it's still Harbaugh who has to sit it out?
You know what? Honestly, it's going to be the boring answer, but not much, maybe a half point, to be honest with you. As long as he can still coach the team during the week, he's with the team, he's part of the game plans, he's there 60, 70, 80 hours, whatever he works during the week. I'm not going to adjust Michigan's power rating too much because he's not there in 3 hours on a Saturday afternoon. What does worry me, obviously, if the Ohio State game is close and he has to make that, more or whoever, Minter or either coordinator has to make that important decision, then I would be maybe a little concerned, but honestly, doesn't impact me too much. And I think the market might be overreacting a little bit. I saw some look aheads for Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan -5.5. I think it should be Michigan 7. I made the bet. I laid 5.5 at the Wolverines.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Brad Powers, website bradpowersports.com. He's on X. You can follow him there at BradPower7. There's another game where the favorite has flipped. It was Louisville, laying 3, I believe, on the opener, or 2, some spots. Now I'm looking at BetMGM, and Miami is a 1-point favorite in this game. Do you agree with the line move here?
Yeah, the line screams Miami's the right side, similar to the Oregon State-Washington game. But, man, good luck. You want to bet Miami, especially that offense with a banged-up Tyler Van Dyke. They're going to move forward with him after the quarterback, Emory Williams, breaks his arm in last week's game. To me, with Louisville with a couple extra days to prep, them getting a scare last week against Virginia. We'll see. If the Miami money continues to show, I'm actually going to fade it and lean with Louisville here.
Any idea how the Big 12 is going to play out? Four teams are 5-2 in conference. 3 more are 4-3. Texas is 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, Texas should win out. I mean, they're obviously a 7.5-point favorite this week. They'll be about a double-digit favorite next week against Texas Tech. easier said than done. I mean, it's not like that. I'm expecting those two to be blowouts, but I would expect them to be one representative. The other one, oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Oklahoma State looks, because they have a tiebreaker over the other team that I think is going to win out in Kansas State. I would say Oklahoma State, as of right now, looks like they're. I mean, last week says something. They lost. They're coming off a 40-point loss, but right now they'd be my other pick there. But who knows? I know the Big 12 is just wanting Texas to win out to see if they can get a team in the playoff this year.
We kick that around all the time, like look-ahead games, letdown spots. Oklahoma State losing like they did. And Brad, the game was over with in the first quarter. After they played Bedlam, I mean, every game's like a snowflake, takes on a different. Like, what was that? How do you lose the game like that?
That was one that I happened to guess right, where I thought UCF was the right side. Now, did I think UCF was going to win by 40? No. Otherwise, I've been in a bet my life situation, but I didn't typically maybe when a team fails to cover the point spread by 40 plus points, I mean, you're going to be aggressive and downgrading a team's power rating. I wasn't as aggressive. I mean, keep in mind, we're talking, it was an historical type performance against Oklahoma. Maybe the last time you ever play your rival, you beat them. You haven't really beat them in a historical context, like once every 5 games historically against Oklahoma. So I understood it to the point where I like them this week against Houston. I think they rebound. And obviously, I'm not a big Dana Holgorsen fan. So I think Oklahoma State's the right side this week after the big loss.
Got a great call on San Jose State.
Oh, yes.
Easy win against Fresno, and that has really opened things up in the Mountain West now, which sets up an enormous game on CBS College Sports between UNLV and Air Force. Air Force was 8-0, flying high, and now no pun intended, and now they've dropped 2 in a row as the turnovers are a problem, and they were a 19-point favorite in both games. And I think Odom's coach of the year. I'm with Mitch. He's got to be. As bad as this program has been, we lived here 24 years. They've made 2 bowl games. What do you think of Air Force only laying 3 now against UNLV at home?
By coach of the year, you mean national coach of the year?
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. I honestly do. Because, I mean, we're talking about in year 1, this might be the best program, the best team in program history.
Yeah.
And he did it in year 1. So, what do I make of it? Obviously, with it only being 3, I think I kind of leans toward the fact that Larrier, the quarterback for Air Force, is probably not going to play because the line ain't 3 if he's healthy and playing for Air Force. I think they rushed him back. Remember, he magically was going to be out a month.
That's
and
right.
He appears in the Navy game. Maybe they rushed him back too soon, like Duke did with Riley Leonard. Man, and not only that, but their fullback didn't play last week. Got to clean up the turnovers. Where's the bad performance from UNLV all year? Even the game they didn't cover, so what? They still beat Colorado State. They've been the most consistent team in the country. No bad performances relative to expectation. I'm sitting it out because my numbers scream Air Force. Because, I mean, when a team's minus 10 in turnovers the last 2 weeks, they're off, 2 historically bad as far as expectation, losing outright back-to-back weeks as a 19-point favorite. Typically, I would be all over Air Force game of the week type of material, but with the quarterback injury, I'm passing.
Okay.
Who do you think wins the Mountain West, by the way? Because as Paulie said, I mean, you were all over San Jose State. I mean, every which way but loose last week, and they were very impressive. They're like 6-1 right now to win that. Do you think they can?
They can, certainly. I know I said Fresno a few weeks ago, but obviously Mikey Keene gets hurt, and, I don't like that as much. It's as wide open as anybody, and right now, San Jose State's playing better than anybody. Can't wait for that game next week against UNLV. UNLV will still be like a 1.5, 2-point favorite, though.
Yeah. Good league all of a sudden.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of, like, with some of these teams, right? I mean, who anticipated this, how this was going to play out? Like, probably nobody.
No. It looked like it was going to be Air Force and a runaway with maybe against Fresno, but very competitive down the stretch. We'll see. Maybe they add a couple teams from the Pac-12 too.
Well, what's crazy is Air Force 8-0. Their win total was 8.5.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They lose this. Stay under.
I might push it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they go to Boise next week.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an all-time bad beat.
We'll continue with Brad Powers up next. More of the bets that he likes for this weekend, and we'll kick this around. Based on hearing this every week on the committee show, eye test. Would any team, would any coach, do they need the style points? Would they run it up this weekend if they could? More coming up here on college football and Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
change in an instant. No matter how the action unfolds, you know DraftKings Sportsbook has your back. This week, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on basketball. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code FOLLOW at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
All right, for those of you who don't know, F1 is in Las Vegas this weekend, and it has completely flipped and turned the city of Las Vegas upside down. Locals are, this is a totally another story, but locals are unhappy with what happened to the Strip. It looks 100% different. For those of you who have not been out here in a while, it's like if you came here right now, you wouldn't recognize it and what they've done. And we'll talk about it here with Mikhail Bala, who is part of the VSiN F1 betting podcast that you can find wherever you listen to your podcast. And how about this? His last day is coming up in a few. You're going to join the Air Force?
Yes, December 12th is when I ship out there.
That's when you ship out?
Yeah.
Are you sure about this? Are you making the right decision here, buddy?
Everyone keeps asking me that, even my own parents, but I'm like, yes, it's something that I want to do.
Oh, it's just like the commercial, right?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
right.
that, yeah.
You signed a 6-year contract.
It's 6 years.
You better not be the Jimbo Fisher of the Air Force. I don't want any word getting back to me.
I won't, I promise.
Okay, you love this sport.
I do.
Okay.
It's called the pinnacle of motorsport for a reason.
Okay, and it's become wildly popular now for a long time. The show on Netflix, obviously, a big reason why. I'll give you an example of that. I have friends coming to town from Seattle. Chad, good friend of mine, great guy, diehard sports fan. We talk about sports betting every single day via text, pretty much. His wife, Candace, doesn't give one iota about any sport, but they watched this a couple years ago. She loves F1, can't get enough of it, and they bet on it pretty much every single week. So what are some of the... It rained, by the way, last night here in Las Vegas.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to be an issue today, but could that impact stuff tonight? Qualifying begins, and overall... okay, go ahead, take it away.
It's going to impact the track a lot because Vegas, the one thing that we know when it rains, it makes the roads slippery, right? So when these drivers are coming in, first of all, it's going to be a night race. They're going to start the race at 10 p.m., right? And qualifying starts around the same time. Practice tonight starts at 8:30. The streets are going to be cold. It's going to be cold. No one anticipated this. And so as they get the tires out of the tire blankets, what's going to happen is those tires will drop in temperature immediately. It's up to the drivers to get an out lap, and there will be a warm-up lap before they can do their push lap. So you're going to look at cars making sure that they get the right amount of fuel in for qualifying, first of all, and to make sure there's not cars, no traffic as they're driving, because that could hinder anyone going out. Like, everyone's like, okay, maybe Ferrari can do something here. In qualifying, Ferrari looked better than Red Bull because the Achilles heel that Red Bull have right now is they can't seem to get that tire switched on, right? And so if they can't get that, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen will be somewhere between P5 and P1. And if they can't get that done, if they can't get the tire switched on with the right amount of laps in to get that tire in the right window, it's going to be a Ferrari probably starting on the front row. If not a Ferrari, we're going to probably be looking at a McLaren around. Lando Norris is one of my favorites.
Okay, so you'd want to approach somebody like that to win it outright, to go podium, to go top 10. How would you approach it then?
So when I'm looking at it that way, given how the track looks, right, the strip straight is long, right? That track is absolutely long. I think we have a picture here and a video of the track. It is long as you come down to the strip and you're hitting the max. You want that car to have no drag or as limited drag as possible. As that car is hitting the strip straight, you're maxing out the car's speed. And when I'm looking at that, McLaren, you're going to have Williams, you're going to have Red Bull, are damn rocket ships in a straight line with less drag in this configuration. So
my God,
look at this. So from turn 9, turn 10, all the way down, you're hitting the max. Your pedal is to the metal right there.
And you're going how fast here?
215 miles per hour approximately. And coming in, right? So having that speed, look at this. This track there's no tight turns really, aside from turn number 5 right before you get to the MSC sphere, and that one is a tricky one as well. So teams and drivers will be looking at that, because I got to meet Logan Sargent the other day, and when he was doing it on the eSports simulator, he started crashing at turn 5. And that's where everyone seems to be, because that straight right there, you're hitting close to 200 miles per hour and you're stopping to get it down to about 80 miles per hour to take that turn. That is from gear 8 to gear 2, 3 is when you're trying to turn that right-hander. So it's going to be...
What's a turn by the spear? That could be chaotic.
That could be because they added a little chicane over there. If you look at it, so you got another 3 turns over there. That one is going to be another tight turn. But again, that one you're around 4th gear, so you're not really that hard over there. So that's easier to turn once you come around the sphere. And once you come out the straight, you're like around 5th, 6th gear. The moment you hit turn 9 or around Caesar's Palace or the Bellagio right there, you're going straight down at 215 miles per hour.
This is phenomenal.
So it's that you need cars that are good in straight line speed. Williams, Red Bull, McLaren. The order of where this goes is it's Red Bull first, McLaren second, Ferrari's sort of in there, Mercedes is not there. They don't have that straight line speed at all. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are complaining to Toto Wolff and the engineers, can we get this car fixed right now? Because we can't drive, it's undrivable. Look at the race in Brazil. Dismal. The worst performance Mercedes has ever had.
How about fastest lap? A little birdie told me Leclerc. And was any value there?
I'm going to say no, just because once the cars are in race trim, Ferrari seems to drop off quite quickly. So in race trim, Ferrari don't look good, but over 1 lap pace, the Ferrari engine can spit out just amazing pace. It's suited for 1 lap pace. So qualifying, you could see Ferrari come up there for sure.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mikhail Bala, our guest. He is one of the hosts on the VSiN F1 betting podcast, along with Ben Wilson. Verstappen, of course, is the favorite. He's odds on at minus 220. Seems like he wins every single time. As of right now, before any of this stuff starts with the qualifying or we get into it for the weekend, could you make a case for anybody else down the board?
So the case that I have is Alex Albon to come on to the top 10. That is minus money right now. If I'm looking at it, you're going to get Alex Albon at minus 140. I like him there. If there's going to be some hectic driving, top 6 at 8-1. That's a nice little long shot.
8-1 on Alex Albon is what you're saying.
For top 6.
Top 6, okay.
Yeah. The other one that I love is Daniel Ricciardo is now at plus 190 for top 10. Just last night, he was plus 230. So over the course of 24 hours, he has dropped down. Here are my bets. Oscar Piastri, top 6, plus 110. Again, the McLaren driver, amazing. The Austrian can do some amazing things. Sergio Perez, top 3. Now, Sergio Perez has got a bad run in the past couple of races. But when we're coming over here, Sergio Perez is fighting for his seat. He needs to perform in these last 2 races. The penultimate race here is suiting him much because he is a great street race driver.
I've had people reach out to tell me that Perez top 3 is a good bet.
Yes, that is a good bet. Again, I have Daniel Ricciardo at plus 230, as you can see on DK, and this dropped down to plus 190 here right now. Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris for fastest qualifier. So Carlos Sainz at plus 650, Lando Norris at 9-1. These numbers are changing quite a bit. And it's really confusing to me that Carlos Sainz is higher than Charles Leclerc, who's at plus 140 for a fastest qualifier. Charles Leclerc has been on this run where he can't get his head on right.
Okay.
So he makes mistakes when the pressure is on. Carlos Sainz has been the driver who's been most consistent this season and actually been leading this season.
Can he win? Was he plus 650?
To win, he is 16-1.
16-1. What? Okay, so this is a market that people like to approach because Verstappen's so good. How about winner without Verstappen? Could that be a Sainz?
I could see that. But again, when it comes to the fight between Ferrari and McLaren, I'm going to choose McLaren over on this track because that is a fast straight. The Ferrari is topping out, I'm going to put it in kilometers per hour, at around 300 kilometers per hour, whereas in the McLaren, it's topping at around 330 kilometers per hour. That's 30 kilometers more. It's about like 5 miles per hour more. That is a big change with the DRS open.
What's double podium Ferrari 8-1?
I don't see that happening. Just because...
Well,
Can you
explain what
that?
it means.
Someone
so-
told me to bet that.
Yeah.
A double podium means that you have 3 positions on the podium. So you get
Yeah.
first, second, third.
Yeah.
That means you need Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz to be in the top
Top
3.
three. Okay.
Yes. Now, the reason why I don't like that bet, because if you're going to have Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen as the fastest drivers, that's your top 3 done right there. The next team below that, Oscar Piastri is the next fastest, right? Then you have Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, and that's the order. But again, if Mercedes is saying that they figured out some stuff, I don't see that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But if Mercedes can get this stuff on right, they will keep the Ferraris at bay.
Great knowledge today, my man. We really appreciate that. And
Good
for
luck.
more analysis like that, you can listen to the VSiN F1 Betting Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. We're
you.
going to miss you around here, man.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Oh, boy. Well, Mike Palm coming up next from Circa. We'll ask him about the betting handle on F1 and a good breakdown on Circa Survivor coming up next.
Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get a daily email recapping all the best bets from every host and guest. Unlimited access to the vsin.com/picks page, which you can sort by sport, matchup, date, and more. Check the leaderboard to see who has the hot hand, ROI, profit. Mitch off the charts now with the ROI. Sign up today, $19 your first month. vsin.com/subscribe.
Here we go. Every Thursday at this time, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian joins the program. His website is guillotineleagues.com. Charch, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Especially if Sean Payton loses this weekend. That would be terrific. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah. It's a big one for your Vikes again.
Yeah.
It is.
Tonight's game. We've talked about this a lot today. I'm expecting a higher scoring game. How do you want to approach it from the Bengals standpoint? T. Higgins very likely to miss the game tonight.
Yeah. And maybe I don't know if they've officially ruled him out or just said they don't plan on him playing. Joe Burrow last week unfazed by the lack of T. Higgins. He finished with 350 yards, 2 scores, threw for like 68%. So yeah, and he peppered slot receiver Tyler Boyd with 12 targets. I mean, they've got other options there. But here's the thing. Brutal matchup for Burrow and Boyd in particular. Ravens ranked number 2 in coverage by Pro Football Focus. They've allowed the fewest passing touchdowns, 0.8 per game, 0.8 per game. And specific to Boyd, who runs from the slot, Arthur Mollett is their slot corner. He's been super solid. He has yet to allow a score this year or more than 79 yards in any game. Still think Joe Burrow will his team to a decent score here, but the Boyd thing seems a little too chalky, a little too much like chasing last week's box score. We hate to do that. So I'm nervous on Boyd here, but I think Joe Burrow will ultimately find enough alternate targets to perhaps do something. This Trent Irwin kid can play a little bit. You might want to think about him as a sneaky play.
The Baltimore rushing attack's been fantastic, but who goes off tonight, though, if anyone?
Well, that's the problem, right? It's, we got 3 guys who are getting carries almost evenly. Gus Edwards still getting a lot of carries. Justice Hill, for no reason whatsoever, continuing to lead the team in snaps and touches. Absolutely absurd. And then there's Keaton Mitchell, who's fascinating. Last 2 weeks, highlight reel touchdowns for him. And he looks amazing. Get this. Keaton Mitchell's averaging 14 yards per carry and 12 yards per reception. That's a pretty compelling use case on a small sample size to give him the ball more often. And it probably happens here, although more often wouldn't necessarily mean a lot when he's averaging 7 touches per game. That's it. Mitchell's already got the 2nd best running grade and the 3rd best receiving grade among running backs by Pro Football Focus. And the way you beat the Bengals is on the ground. Bengals have the 4th worst run defense by PFF, and they're allowing the 4th most yards per carry. So there's going to be opportunities on the ground. Mitchell's been scoring at distance. Gus Edwards gets the close-up stuff. The catch here, again, is the usage. Cincinnati's seeing 27 carries per game, which is a very healthy number, but you divide it up 3 ways. Now I got 3 guys getting 9 carries. And so that makes it really hard from a fantasy standpoint, even a betting standpoint, to figure out how this thing might go. But the frustrating part is we know John Harbaugh loves the committee approach. It's probably not changing, but Mitchell's earned more looks than the 7 he's had so far.
Well, what does Lamar Jackson do with his legs tonight then, Charge?
So this has been fascinating. The last 3 games, the Ravens have put up 31, 37, and 31 points. And Lamar Jackson's box scores have been paltry over those same 3 games. Jackson's fantasy points are between Tyson Bagent and Tyler Heineke.
Oh.
He's given us nothing. He's a victim of his own team's success. The game scripts have turned so run heavy that Lamar Jackson isn't passing, and they're not exposing him on running plays very often either. Those last 3 games, Baltimore's running backs have scored 8 times, 8 in 3 games. But the bounce back for Lamar Jackson, it's coming tonight. Bengals secondary ranks 30th by Pro Football Focus. They've already given up quarterback rushing touchdowns in back-to-back games, and the last 4 quarterbacks to face the Bengals have thrown 3 of the last 4 have thrown for at least 320 yards. So I think it all comes together here. This thing, to me, has got way more track meet to it than the previous games have. So I like Lamar Jackson in a bounce-back spot after 3 straight duds.
Very good breakdown. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Fantasy Football Hall of Famer Paul Charchian. His website is called GuillotineLeagues.com. You're still drafting for another week, and all of his player rankings are up there for free every single week. The Dolphins are turning into huge favorites this weekend against the Raiders. It touched 14 yesterday here at Circus Charge.
Wow.
Devon Achane coming back now. He was on IR for a month. I have Mostert in one league. I have Achane in another league. What's the breakdown here in the Dolphins' backfield this weekend?
Right, so he comes off IR. We presume he's going to be activated for this because he's practicing for this game. And he was electric before the injury. He had those 3 big games for Achane that were so fantastic. And he graded out as Pro Football Focus's highest-ranked runner at the time. Scored 5 times in those 3 games. And a great opportunity against the Raiders, allowing the 3rd most total yards, 5th most yards per carry, and 8th most touchdowns to opposing running backs. I mean, all the metrics say the running backs are going to go off. But here's the catch. A little bit similarly to Baltimore. This is a crowded backfield. Remember, when Achane was rocking at the start of the season, Jeff Wilson and Salvon Ahmed weren't healthy. They weren't playing at all. And Mike McDaniels loves to use the rotation of backs in the full committee. Everybody's healthy now. So this could easily be like a 6, 7, 8 touch game for Achane. Now, with that few touches, he'd have to be pretty magical with those, which he was before. But I don't know if you can just bank on magic every single time. So I'm actually a little bit worried here. I've got Achane sitting right now as running back 25. So it's certainly a startable grade. But I don't think it's necessarily the auto start this week that some people think it is.
Okay. All right. The first time the Rams played the Seahawks, it was week 1, and it was a clinic by the Rams in the second half. I mean, the Seahawks could not get this offense off the field. Matthew Stafford is expected to make his return this week for the Rams. So what do you think he does in this game? And then how high are you on Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua?
Yeah, this one's really fascinating. So, first of all, throwing hand injuries are always scary for me. But presumably, if they've got Stafford out there, they feel really comfortable in his ability to throw the ball with all the ways that he normally would. But here's the weird thing about Stafford. Since that week 1 game, he's been incredibly pedestrian and oddly even better without Cooper Kupp than he has been with him. He has 0 or 1 passing touchdown in 7 of his last 8 games. And counterintuitively, since Cooper Kupp came back, he hasn't topped 226 passing yards. That's nothing, 226. I mean, we're Tyler Bajanting at 226. There's nothing there. So obviously, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, obviously, way better for them than Brett Rippon, who basically had to buy a bus ticket home after the last game from Green Bay. Kupp has a fascinating matchup in particular. I'm going to break it down for just a second. As you know, Kupp runs out of the slot. Not enough people talking about this. Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate Devon Witherspoon is awesome for Seattle. And he mans the slot. He hasn't allowed a score since opening week, and he's giving up a 46% completion rate. I mean, most starting corners, don't feel bad if you don't know this, most starting corners are sitting in the 70s and 80s for completion rates. 46% is the 4th best in the NFL, and it's coming off this rookie, Devon Witherspoon. This is a tricky spot for Kupp. I think extra balls go to Puka Nacua, who I've got sitting as wide receiver number 10 this week.
All right. Excellent. What's the Jefferson update moving forward and also Sunday night against Denver? And what do you think of that matchup?
Yeah, important thing to know about this is whenever Jefferson does come back, you can put him in your lineup with confidence because both he and the team have been unequivocal, saying when he's not playing till he's basically at 100%. So you can feel good about that. The problem is it's a Sunday night game, so you're not going to have a firm answer on Justin Jefferson when you need to set your lineup at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big problem. You could pick up KJ Osborne or Marvin Mims or Brandon Powell and pivot to those guys Sunday night if you need to, if he doesn't go. But mostly, we hope Jefferson plays so he can jam it up Sean Payton's back end. Viking fans like me will never forgive him for cheating his way to the 2009 Super Bowl at the expense of the Brett Favre-led Vikings, a transgression that cost him only half a season, should have cost him more. There's one coach in the history of the NFL who's most likely to derive sexual pleasure from killing hobos. It is Sean Payton. Pound sand, you cheater. I hope Justin Jefferson jams it up your backside.
All right. So you're still drafting is this the final week at GuillotineLeagues.com?
It is.
Okay. Explain to everybody why they need to get in.
GuillotineLeagues.com is the freshest new way to play fantasy football. Here's how it works. Every week, the low-scoring team gets chopped from the league. All their players go to the waiver wire, where the rest of us bid on those players and then build superstar rosters over the course of the season. No head-to-head matchups. Super fun way to play. All you have to do is not finish last any given week, and you win the whole thing. GuillotineLeagues.com.
You're the best. Thanks for the time, Charch.
Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.
There you go. Paul Charchian. I'm in 2. I still have 2 teams left in Guillotine Leagues.
All right.
And, Paul, the teams that you can form when these other teams get chopped, it's a complete thrill ride. We're 10 weeks into the season. It's awesome. Tonight's a doozy, man.
Sounded like it. When he got knocked out on one of them, and then he thanked you for all the people that now became available. Players.
I think Ravens like 27-23, something like that tonight.
Sounds good.
Goes over.
Sounds about right.
Fun game.
Yep.
Back and forth.
Al Michaels really needs it.
Yeah.
He really
of all
needs
people,
it.
right. Yeah. If you miss any of the show, you can search Follow the Money wherever you get your podcast. Good luck tonight.
This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.